Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Scholastic Raffle Refresher webinar. This is for 2023. This is a new idea that we came up with to make sure that everybody who's been running raffles for years, maybe was trained when they first started and hasn't been trained since, gets a quick refresher on all the things that they need to know to manage their raffle and brush up on those skills since they haven't used them for a whole year. My name is Nikki Krause, and I am the Director of Operations at DonorPoint. I've been working with the system for 12 years. My background is in applications development and technology project management and implementation. I started on the commercial side, dropped over to nonprofits, first in arts and culture, and then in health and human services. And in both of those nonprofit environments, I was part of the team that brought DonorPoint in and implemented it for those nonprofits. Now I'm on the staff side, and I'm hoping that I can make a difference for all of you. Sort of things that I wanted to see, I want to make happen. So, everybody ready to go? The topics that we're going to be covering today include meeting me and getting a copy of the crib sheet for this class, basically an outline of what we go over, so you can use it to jog your memory without having to watch the whole video again, and use it as a quick checklist when you decide to go in and start working. So I'm going to hit send, and you should see in the chat window a PDF that you can download with the draft of our Scholastic Raffle checklist. We're going to take a look at our learning objectives, student roster essentials, editing your launch and reminder emails. We're going to look at the supporters' experience of buying their raffle tickets online. We're going to show you the new raffle dashboard and use it to generate reports, to do management, to jump in and manage cash turn-ins for pre-printed tickets, and we're going to review how to print tickets for the hopper. Finally, we'll go through a quick dashboard summary so you remember what all the different things that you saw were, and look at next steps and reminders going into our fall raffle season. Okay. Our objectives for today is that everybody on the raffle office team who watches this webinar will be able to summarize the requirements for a student roster, locate and twink their campaign's launch emails, review the supporters' online experience and know what to expect when they get questions, and navigate and use the new raffle dashboards. All very doable. First thing we're going to look at is student roster essentials. Remember that in order to run a student raffle and assign tickets to students so that they are credited with that portion of the fundraising and are eligible for their incentives, we need to have a copy of your student roster. If you haven't requested it already, please do so as soon as possible. Our raffle guide includes the template with the requirements for what should be in that student roster, and I've summarized it quickly here, minus the demo data for it. For a student solicitor, usually high schools, that includes a student ID, first and last name, the student's email address, if the school provides an email address for them, their grade level, their advisory or homeroom, whichever concept you use, and then 1 to 4 columns, your choice, with their parents' emails associated. When DonorPoint sends out a reminder to students, a launch email, a forwarded email, or a notification that someone has bought tickets in their name, Parents always get a copy. There is no communication about the raffle that doesn't also go to the parents, as long as you provide those email addresses to us. Okay. This is what a student raffle spreadsheet needs, your student roster that you'll get from the office. If you are instead running a family raffle, where each family has a quota and is considered a single fundraising unit for the purpose of the raffle, it's a little bit different. You're going to provide us with 2 files or 2 tabs in the same spreadsheet. The first file or the first tab is going to include 1 row per family with your family ID from your student management system, the parent's first name and last name, and the second parent's first name and last name, and then up to 4 columns with those parents' email addresses. This might be a personal email address and a work email address for each parent, or if there are multiple parents or step parents involved, it could be a couple of personals and a couple of step parent addresses or guardian addresses. The second file or tab that you're going to provide includes that family ID, a student ID, student first name, student last name, and student grade. In this file or on this tab, you'll provide 1 row per student. We'll do some Excel ninja tricks to string all of the students together so that all of the students are associated with the family and show up when people go to buy their raffle ticket and look for a family based on the names. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to go take a look in DonorPoint in the administrative interface, and we're going to look at finding and editing launch emails and other emails in the system. I'm going to log into our demo site as a demo site administrator. Notice that the first thing that happens when I log into my site is my homepage is my new dashboard. This is my management dashboard for my entire raffle, but we're going to talk in detail about this in just a minute. Just note that you'll be able to see your dashboard in the same way when you log in. For schools that are running multiple catalogs and have multiple events going at the same time as their raffle, you might want to decide, do you want to have that as your default screen, or do you want to go to the dashboard just when you see it? We can talk about that later on an individual basis. Okay. In order to find your emails and do some editing to them, when DonorPoint sets up your raffles, we're going to queue up your emails for you. So to find them, you go to email and mass email. And you're going to see a couple of emails there. In this case, the Demo Center Scholastic Raffle kickoff email and the Scholastic Raffle solicitor forward to contacts email. That second email that I just mentioned is a pretty formatted version of an email that students or families who receive can immediately forward to everybody on their contact lists. It includes all the information needed and none of the housekeeping details that might be in the kickoff email. Let's take a look at one of those emails. If you haven't done this before, it's actually really easy. Find the email that you're interested in editing, click the edit button immediately below. This opens the email record. You can see the text of the email in the large message space at the bottom. Now, you notice that there's a lot of merge codes and logo markers that show broken images. This is because all of this information pulls in dynamically from your raffle makes it very easy to maintain. Don't have to do everything twice. In order to edit any of the text on this message, click the designer button on the far right-hand corner of that message area. That opens the area, and this workspace is a what you see, what you get editing area for text. If you've ever used another email program or anything else that lets you sort of drag and drop where things belong, it's going to feel very familiar. To edit your text, click in the text area, select what you want to change, type something a little different. Ooh, let's see. We have a DonorPoint High School, for those who didn't know that. Our drawing's New Year's Eve. Don't touch any of the merge tags. When you're done doing your editing, all you have to do is click Save. At that point, what we'd like you to do is ask you to please let DonorPoint know the day that you want your email to be scheduled, because what we're going to do is, after you've finished reviewing your text and making any edits you like, we will schedule it for you so we can flip a switch that turns off the system's automatic deduping of emails. We want parents to get an email copy for every student that they have in the raffle. So if they have 5 children, all in the same school, they will get 5 emails, one for each child, each with their individual unique link that sets the parameters for them so that they get credit for any raffle sale. Does that make sense? So don't forget, we'll do your scheduling for you just so we can flip that switch. Now, after you've done your editing, if you want to see what your email looks like, you can click the Send a Test Email. It will send it to you automatically. All you need to do is click the Send button, and that'll show you what it looks like, minus the merge-ins, because you're sending it to yourself instead of to a student who has the information at hand in their record. All right. But at least if you've made big text changes, it's a good way to see how it looks. All right. Okay. Now we want to take a look at the supporters' experience with DonorPoint and buying their raffle tickets. Now, they're going to get to this page one way or another. They're either going to take one of those launch emails that are sent out that include a student's unique ID, or what they're going to do is see a QR code on a newsletter or a bulletin, or post it up on a bulletin board, or wherever you happen to put it. They'll scan it and they'll end up at this page. If they have followed a link from a student, the student's name or the family name, in the case of a family raffle, will be filled in already right here in the solicitor or student name section. That'll be done for them. What they need to do is, select a quantity, and boom, boom, boom. I'm going to buy 5 tickets. If they are buying these tickets for someone else, for example, a grandparent or an aunt who isn't online, they can put in the name and the phone number of that person so that it gets printed on the ticket that is put in the hopper for the drawing. Just a note about that and a reminder, this is the legalese reminder. Remember that according to Ohio law, out-of-state residents are not able to buy raffle tickets online. They may buy them by contacting your Raffle office, and you can enter that information for them through the back end. This is part of anti-money laundering, and they are very strict about it. No outside sales outside the state of Ohio, self-service online. Another aspect is that for every raffle in Ohio, it is required, if tickets are sold to the public, which yours are, that all raffle tickets be printed and put in an appropriate receptacle for drawing. You are not allowed to use spreadsheets and automatic number generators to select the winner. It must be done by printing, cutting, and pulling. Got it? Okay. So my on behalf of, I can put a name in here if that's appropriate, name and a phone number. Then I have a choice. If I followed a generic link in, I can select the name of a student myself. Now, for demonstration purposes, I have our student list so it opens automatically. This is a configuration choice for each school. You can have it so people need to start typing before the list opens for them. So they can't just go in and say, oh, who are the students here? In this case, I have a dummy list of students from Harry Potter. So it opens, it actually shows you some of the students. So if I want to choose a student, say I want to choose my friend Ron, I'm going to choose Ron, and I'm going to click a button that says, in this catalog, add to selections. In your catalog, it may say buy tickets, depending on how we've configured the buttons for you. Go ahead and click add selections. And then I get a choice. I get to see how many raffle tickets I purchased, how much that purchase is going to cost me as a supporter, and I see who is receiving credit for that ticket. I have a choice then of returning back to the page to buy more tickets. And on catalogs that are dedicated to a raffle, nothing else runs in them, this button will actually say buy more tickets. On my catalog, because it's the demo catalog, it's more generic language. I'm going to return to the options. I'm going to choose another student. And let's do Luna Lovegood. And I'm going to buy 10 tickets for her. Boop. I'm going to add to selections again, buy my tickets. There we go. I get that same pop-up. This time when I view selections, it takes me to my cart. I can see all the tickets I've purchased, the quantities for each, who gets the credit, or if no one is credited because I checked that checkbox, asking for the school to please assign a deserving student or a deserving family. You would see that here as well. All right. Our current best practice is to offer the ability to adopt the credit card fees for all online purchases. Across all of our user sites, we found that if you offer people the opportunity to adopt the transaction fees, the credit card fees, they generally do 80% of the time. This is amazing. So if you want to offer that to your users, you'll probably be very pleasantly surprised. Again, this is a configuration thing that we can talk about during your raffle review meeting. I'm going to check out with these selections. Notice that, oh, I don't have this one. On your catalog, Ohio is restricted for your catalogs currently. So no one who goes through and tries to purchase a ticket will be able to select a state other than Ohio or enter a zip code other than those allocated to within the state of Ohio. So you are blocked on your catalog from that happening. I'm going to put in a phone number. and an email. And I can't spell my name. Okay. If you have chosen this option, you have the ability to say, are you an alumna or an alumnus? And if so, pick a year and say, Albus Dumbledore, yeah, it's 1962. And also to indicate, again, if you have chosen this as an option, whether the purchaser is a member of staff or faculty in the school. I'm going to put in a dummy credit card number. And complete my checkout. That takes much less time to do than it does to talk about. The system will then offer back a receipt. And remember, this is a shared catalog, so our language is a little more generic than you will have on your catalog. It includes a note to, don't forget to tune into our Facebook channel for the live drawing, and a reminder that raffle ticket purchases are not tax deductible. Because this is a shared catalog, this type of messaging is on the item because there might be class signups and other things going through here on the same receipt. However, on your catalog, if you're in a dedicated catalog for your raffle, this type of messaging would be up here at the top. Okay. Let me very quickly grab my email. And I'll show you what the emails look like. All right. All right. The supporter is going to get a nicely formatted receipt email that includes their confirmation number, their transaction ID and DonorPoint, as well as the date of their transaction, their contact information, and everything they ordered, just like on that confirmation page. Also attached to their email, their raffle ticket stubs. See what one of those looks like? 5 tickets. And this is their copy of their raffle tickets. It's just a best practice. They don't need to do anything with them. Okay. Let me show you another email. Pictures, double click. All right. Now, one of the students that I chose who was credited, I'm in her record as her parent. So Luna gets an email, and so do I as a parent, because every parent gets every communication sent to a student. Luna, someone has purchased raffle tickets. We have now included the count of the total number of raffle tickets that have been credited to that student, the student's unique URL that will take people back if they want to buy additional tickets, or if the student needs an additional reminder to forward this link to someone else. The reminder always only Ohio residents. And just to show you what this looks like, since we didn't go into the catalog that way, I'm going to click the link. It takes me to the raffle ticket sales page, and it fills in the solicitor name for me. So all I have to do is choose my quantity, and if I'm buying for someone else, enter their name and check out. All right. So you've seen the raffle ticket attachments, you've seen what the solicitor receives, and you've seen the confirmations that the supporter receives. All right, let's go back now and take a look at our dashboard. For those of you who have run a campaign before, this looks quite a bit different from what you're used to. Okay. The dashboard itself gives you an at-a-glance, easy way to see what's going on. I'm going to refresh the dashboard here that I've had open so that it reflects some of the sales that I just made as part of this demonstration. Okay. We're now including a sales over time. Because this is a shared catalog, it's showing a whole bunch of time elapsed. However, for your raffle, this will show only the time block of the raffle itself and show you how your ticket sales are going over time. It's a standard stock chart for those of you who look at those frequently. This one is kind of boring because it only basically shows sales from yesterday and today. All right. We have a visualization of our quota and how many more we have to sell to make goal. In this case, 85% still to go. On our first day and a half, we filled 15% of our quota from all student sales. In this case, there's also a bar chart showing how the grade levels themselves are doing. This particular school is a middle school and a high school, so you're seeing more than the normal 4 levels. Usually it's just 9, 10, 11, 12, but you get the idea. Scrolling down, you see some additional information. The numbers behind that pie chart, the total number of students in your roster. In this case, I have 68 in my test set. You've got many more, obviously. The total numbers of tickets that have been sold, the percent you've made to quota, the number at or over, and what that is in percentage. Something new that we've added is a summary by class that actually gives you some additional info on a secondary dashboard. We'll come back to that in just a second. At the bottom are your leaderboards for the overall sale, your top 10 students, and your top 10 homerooms or advisories. All right, now I know one of my classes is all the way up to 23%. So there's a button in that class level for, in this case, the 10th grade. I'm going to click into the 10th grade and we'll take a look at their information. You see the same quota. How's this grade doing? You see the totals for each homeroom within this grade. And then leaderboards that are grade specific. The top 5 students in the 10th grade, the top 5 homerooms that are in the 10th grade. So this is now divided so you get details by class if you need them. Otherwise, you're looking at the whole raffle on the main dashboard. All right. Now, there are now buttons, top and bottom, that take you everywhere else you need to go to manage your raffle. The reports that you need are all launched by a button. You don't have to go hunting for them. All you have to do is click. So if you want to deliver daily reports to each of your homeroom or advisory teachers that tells them how sales are going for the students in that homeroom, you might want to click into the homeroom report. That homeroom report generates a PDF, and where did it go? Downloads a PDF file. And when you open that PDF file, it gives you a 1-page summary for each homeroom. It includes a roster of the students and what their number of returns are, as well as an overall summary, so you don't have to do the math yourself. This is a great way to keep your homeroom teachers and advisory members involved in making sure that the raffle's a success. Okay. So if that's part of your practice, easy way to get to that from the dashboard. All sales by student is exactly what it says. This is a dashboard showing you all of the students who are part of your student roster, sorted by their last name and then their first name, what grade they're in, how many they've sold, if they've done any cash turn-ins for pre-printed tickets, how many they received overall, and so forth. You can search for students simply by typing a first or last name or student ID number in the search field at the top and hitting a return. If a student contacts you and says, hey, I deleted my launch email by accident, what's my unique URL? Well, this is the report you come to get it. You can copy this and send it to them yourself. Voila. Quick and easy way to find it. That's the all sales by student dash. If you need transaction details, what all the purchases were, looking at those, the buyers instead of the students, that all sales button is going to take you to a standard DonorPoint transaction details report that has been customized to include the custom fields that you are using. For example, on behalf of ticket numbers, if you're keeping track of those for pre-printed tickets that are distributed. And some of the other fields that you see there. As a reminder, any one of these standard reports that's run via the dashboard can always be exported. If you find the icon in the upper right-hand corner that has the little piece of paper with the X in the middle, you click that, and boom, you have a CSV file that you can open in Microsoft Excel. Throw on a filter, give it a quick selection, and you have a roster ready to process. Voila. Or a list of transactions ready to process. All right. Okay. Easy to export. The next several reports are pretty much exactly what they say. If you want to take some actions, you want to find some sales that don't have an assigned student associated with them, click the button and you can find people who checked that box when they checked out, rather than choosing a student from the drop-down roster. It's a couple of buyers who bought raffle tickets and did not assign them to a student. If it's your policy to do this, you can use this to review and then click in and assign students to those individual tickets. That is one option, like so. Or print the list and then assign them by hand to put directly into the hopper. Totally up to you, how you decide you want to do it. All right, I'm going to go back to my dashboard. Students who are under quota, again, a quick list, exportable, that gives you a list of all the student sellers that haven't made their minimum. A quick list of students who haven't sold at all, in case you need to make some phone calls. Again, exportable. If you are collecting alumni information, you'll have a couple of buttons for sales to alumni. So you can see who of your alums have stepped up. And you can see what they bought, how many they bought, and who their student seller that was credited is over here on the side. But what if you want to see it by year? What if you've got a battle going on for decades or graduation years? Quick pivot will count up the number of tickets sold and the subtotal for each self identified graduation year for your alumni. Okay. Payment batch details. We'll generate the payment batch details report for your finance team. This will give them an export of what you need for credit card reconciliation. Because I'm using a demo site, I have no credit card reconciliation because everything's done with a fake credit card, but you get the idea. This looks very standard. If you use catalogs for other things, you've seen this as well. Okay. All right, a couple of other fun things. Printing tickets. Printing tickets is now easier to do than ever. From the dashboard, when you click your print tickets, you put in your start date and say, I want to print everything from yesterday through everything that's been done today. So I'm going to choose midnight. Okay. And I have a choice. I can either choose print the tickets that have a student assigned, and we'll do that. That generates a PDF that I can then rename and print. And this is my set of tickets to cut apart and put in my hopper. Notice that the names are assigned, and in this empty space in the middle, if this is an on behalf of, that's where the name would show up. Let's see if I can find one of those real quick. On behalf of Voldemort. There you go. So you see what those look like. The unique ticket ID is listed at the bottom of each ticket. All right. You also have the option of processing in batches to print tickets that don't have students assigned. If you do these by hand, you can print those tickets out, and then whoever is doing the review can write the names of the students on by hand for the tickets that are going to be manually assigned rather than assigned within the system. Your choice works the same way, just a different button, and that field will be blank. All right. Now, if you have pre-printed tickets and you are recording the fact that those tickets have been sold offline, and you want to record the fact that the cash has come in and have that reflected, you can go into the cash turn-in section. This forces a login to your catalog. So I'm going to put in my password and sign in. And this takes me to an item that is hidden from everybody else. Nobody who isn't logged in sees this item. It's something that's really only for the back office, hence the big picture. Same sort of transaction. All you would do is enter the same information, the quantity on behalf of you. If that's given to you, you can include that. You don't need to because it's a pre-printed ticket, but if you're recording it, you can. The numbers of the tickets, if you're recording specific numbers or ranges of tickets that have been handed in. Again, that is personal practice for a raffle office. Not every school does it. And the name of the solicitor. This is the key part right here, the name of the solicitor. So you would add to the selections. This might be Susan Bones. She turned in money for 25 tickets. We add her to the selections, check out. And because I am an administrator, I'm logged into the back end. I see additional payment methods. I would see credit card, but obviously because this is a cash turn-in, what I'm going to choose is cash or check payment, however the payment came in, and then I'm going to complete the checkout. Because I am an administrator, I do not have to provide any contact information if I don't have it, which means I can just record the fact that I got cash in, so my reports and my credits are correct. And if you don't have information on who the tickets were sold to, it doesn't matter. All right, good to know. All right, I'm going to close out of there. There is one more additional piece for offline credit cards and digital tickets. This is for processing out-of-state sales using the back office. You can click into offline credit card and digital tickets. It takes me to the logged in version of this so that when I check out using the same back office functionality, I'm able to choose credit card, and I'm able to override the state to record the fact that it was sold to a grandmother in Arizona and check out that way. If I have her on the phone, I've got her credit card that I'm putting in. I put in her contact information and email address, and it doesn't have to be everything. It can be zip code, email address, and name, and that's good enough, and the state. And that will settle up for an out-of-state sale entered through the back office. Okay. There is one more button on that dashboard that you're going to see year 2 and beyond when you're doing raffles. And that's a comparison of year over year that shows you basically within the same tracking week, the first week of the raffle, the second week of the raffle, and so forth, you'll be able to see how your sales are developing for the raffle overall. Not a day by day, but a week by week. Works pretty nice. Okay. So dashboard summary. What did you see? The homeroom report, that PDF to put in mailboxes, 1 per homeroom. All sales by student, a searchable list that includes the unique URL for students, as well as a quick summary of what they've sold. This is how you answer questions when a student stops you in the hall. All sales is that transaction details report, looking at the buyers rather than the sellers. Those utility reports for sales without an assigned student, students under quota, students with no sales. That comparison for year over year that we just looked at. The alumni trackers for looking at who the alumni were specifically and what their sales were, as well as the pivot to look year by year who's the most active. And payment batch details, which you give to your finance team. You also have the dashboard giving you print tickets, cash turn-ins, and those offline credit card and digital tickets for out-of-state sales or on the phone sales. Okay. So a couple of next steps. Over the next week or so, DonorPoint will be setting up and testing the new dashboard on your raffle and archiving the old dashboards. We'll set up your new launch emails and put them in editing mode so they're ready to go. And we'll reach out to you to ask for a review meeting at least 4 weeks before your raffle launches. So we have plenty of time for you to test, double check everything, make sure it's exactly the way you like it, and then we can empty out all the test transactions and you'll be ready to go. Before we have that meeting, DonorPoint is going to need a couple of things from you. Don't forget to ask the office for that student roster file. I mentioned that before. Make sure they know the deadline, follow up on it, make sure they pull the file for you. This is the thing that really can mess us up as far as timing If we don't get the raffle, don't get the student file until a day or two before the raffle's supposed to launch, that really, really puts us in a tight spot for testing with the real data. We want you to review the wording on your launch emails. Make sure that everything looks good and you like the wording, especially if you're updating from year to year or changing your tactics. And finally, we're going to ask you to design an online ticket image so that your raffle can be represented the way people are used to seeing it, especially if you used to use print raffle tickets. We ask that those be a 600 by 400 PNG file or a JPEG file. And I have a beautiful example of one right here from our very first school that has their 2023 ticket done. This is Holy Names Triple Threat Raffle. This is what represents their raffle instead of that picture of the graduates that you've seen on the demo site. Okay. And that's it. Thank you very much.